Hey, ladies and gents, I want to do a little video for you guys about how to optimize walking. We have this beautiful white line in front of us, and most people, when they walk, they're going to walk on two separate lines. Most people kind of walk like this. We'll walk on both sides of the lines. Notice my head kind of going back and forth. The head is swaying. When you're walking, you should be walking like your head is just literally coasting on a line. So when I'm walking, I should almost think about walking on a single line. My head doesn't move. In order to do that, my hips need to sway. I'm going to exaggerate this for you. So if I'm walking and my head's not moving, my hips literally need to go side to side to side to side. That has then requirement of being able to adduct your adductor, right? So I need to be able to take my hip from this position to this position. These positions are very, very important to walking. So you have tight hips laterally, it's often going to look like this. So if you see your hips waddling or your body going side to side, or maybe you get tightened through the spine because of walking, you're doing it incorrectly. If your hips are tight, you're doing it incorrectly. So we're going to have Coach Steve walk us through how to walk. And we're going to literally think about the first step is like just walk on a single line, try to keep your head straight. Do you have enough hip swivel to do it? And the way we teach this is we exaggerate it. So we want the hips to go out, hips to go out, hips to go out. And my head stays straight. And I'm exaggerating. Obviously your butt behind you is kind of shaking. That's kind of step one. See if you want to walk through that? All right, so step one, just to reiterate, we want to make sure we're walking on a single line. Whether you're walking up a step mill or you're walking upstairs, the ideal circumstance is we're walking in a straight line. If you feel like your hips are tight, just exaggerate it, right? You want to learn to get your hips moving. That's forcing you to contract your adductor and lengthen out your abductors, glute medius and glute max. So we want to make sure that we're getting good length through there and then shortening through the adductor. The next step is making sure the gait is correct. So once we've got the kind of step pattern correct, we want to make sure the gait is correct. So Steve's going to land on his heel. He's going to roll on the outside of his foot, push off the big toe. So I'll give you one demo. So we want to walk, heel strike, roll on the outside of the foot, land, pronate through, and then push off the big toe. So that you really want to make sure you're getting that pronation. I'm exaggerating for the sake of demo. Heel strike, land on the outside of the foot, pronate, push off the big toe. So it's going to look like this. Land, pronate, push off the big toe. And I actually like to exaggerate the push off the big toe when I'm practicing. So I'm going to heel strike, roll through, push. And so I have a broken toe, so sometimes it hurts me to push off. So I tend to avoid it. I'm not conscious of it. Heel strike, roll, pushing through that toe to propel forward motion. Walking should be a successive set of literally falling and catching yourself. So it's like foot goes in front as I'm falling. Foot goes in front because I'm falling. Falling. So I'm landing on the heel and I'm pushing through the toe. See us, dude. Heel strike, roll through that, and make sure you're pushing out that big toe. Good stuff. Come back. You get his whole body in, Mitch?
Yeah, at some point I lose him.
Heel strike, push off that big toe. Good. So if you find yourself having a hard time pushing off the big toe or even walking on a single line, the single best thing you can do is stand on one foot. And when I'm doing this, what I want to do is I want to make sure I'm rooting my big toe into the ground. Maybe I challenged it myself by extending out away from my body and forcing myself to keep balance by using my feet. So if I'm in this position, I have to really, you'll notice your feet really starting to go crazy to keep you in the air, right? So if you change these positions, the body has to really orient itself in space to keep you, you see my feet working. So if your feet are weak, walking is always going to be dysfunctional. When you're wearing shoes that have huge amounts of pad, this is what tends to happen. We heel strike because we have this big rubber pad under our foot, and then we slap foot. So heel strike, slap foot, heel strike, flat foot. This is people who get sore ankles, sore knees, sore hips. Indefinitely, if you've been in shoes for the last 30 or 40 years, you're probably going to have dysfunctional feet, dysfunctional knees, and dysfunctional hips. So we're trying to regain function. So we have to be super intentional about that. Heel strike, pronate, and push. If you don't have mobility through your feet to be able to do things like this, where you can spread your toes out and maybe separate the big toe from the rest of the toes, right? Be able to kind of separate the motion of them like that. That's not always easy to do, but that's necessary to ensure those feet are functioning enough to be able to walk, run, and jump. So this is something we want to progress towards. Steve, you want to try some just walking and toe splays? So walk, push, and push through. Yes, I notice you're kind of contracting your toes a little bit. There you go. Push that big toe. Perfect. So do you notice on his back leg, when he's pushing through, he's really going up onto that back toe, which is really good. We're really just trying to go heel, toe, push, heel, toe, push. Try to train that pattern. So just to finally reiterate, I'll show you from the side. It's going to be, as I'm walking, it's going to be heel, toe, push, heel, toe, push, heel, toe, push. If I'm training the feet and the calves to go through those cycles and ultimately build the strength and resilience of the feet.